Does Georgia have the weapons now? Brought in a couple of receivers from the transfer portal. A couple of receivers leave. Georgia's starting to load up in terms of their pass catchers, and we got to really see them on a bigger stage at G-Day for the first time. So, do they have the guys needed to win? And look, when I say win, I mean go all the way. Because, look, Georgia won the SEC championship last year, and people still weren't happy with how the season went. Georgia was a top 5-6 team in 2023, won the Orange Bowl. Wasn't good enough. Why? Because they went back-to-back the years prior to that, and that became what they're going to be measured against over and over again. That's what the standard is. Kirby said it himself. The standard is the standard, and then he told us the standard is 2021 and 2022. So is this Georgia offense going to be what it needs to be? Ryan Curley from Dawg Post. I want to talk about what I saw out of the Georgia wide receivers at G-Day. Rewind to last offseason. You thought you were going to have Ra Thomas, Colby Young, Dylan Bell, Aaron Smith, Dominic Lovett, London Humphreys comes in, right? And that is your core at wide receiver. Looked pretty good. Ra doesn't happen. Colby Young doesn't happen for the most part. Dominic Lovett, Dylan Bell, and Aaron Smith, up and down, up and down. There's a lot of drop passes. Georgia leads the country in drops. And London Humphreys really doesn't play a big role. And the freshmen don't play much of a role. Now you got this year. Dylan Bell's still there, and now he's in year 4 in this system. You got Colby Young back. You got Noah Thomas from Texas A&M. You got Zachariah Branch from USC. You got London Humphreys. I think you got Nitro Tuggle. Kind of words out on that, but there's definitely talent there. You got Sokovie White, who played really well at G-Day, and I'm going to talk about that as I bring in some numbers to you. You got some freshmen to supplement that are talented. Taylon Taylor, CJ Wiley. So you've got a lot more. And that's along with your tight ends. So Georgia's in a better position. And we wrote about it last week. We do Final Feelings. If you're not familiar with Dawg Post, before games, it comes out on Thursdays before games. We do Final Feelings, and it's more of a blog style type post where Dean, Matt, and myself, we write about what's going on in our lives and what's going on in our head heading into the weekend, heading into the game. And something I talked about was, look, Georgia brought the guys in. The pass catchers should be better. And I put it in italics, should. Because the truth is we don't really know. I don't know if they're better. Now, I think they are. It looks that way. When I think about what happened at G-Day, it was an aerial attack. This was not about running the football. This was about passing the football. This was about showing off the new weapons. This was about building more game-like chemistry in the passing game, especially with quarterbacks that don't have a ton of collegiate experience. And that's what you get in the duo of Gunnar Stockton and Ryan Puglisi. Well, Ryan Puglisi is not QB1. It's Gunnar Stockton. Now, Ryan Puglisi looks very talented. There's a lot of things he could do, but QB1 is Gunnar Stockton, and I don't really think he's going to be unseated by Puglisi before this season gets underway. And maybe that happens during the season, but I kind of doubt it. Gunnar looked like the more comfortable quarterback, and I thought he made better decisions. He also has the running ability, and that's all going to factor into why Gunnar Stockton is likely QB1 for this season. Is there a go-to weapon has been one of my questions. Things really work out when you've got a guy that can dominate, a guy that you can go to. Georgia had that in Brock Bowers. And they had a lot of future NFL guys, too, on those teams. George Pickens, A.D. Mitchell, Ladd McConkey, some reliable guys in Karis Jackson and Marcus Osby-Jackson. Does Georgia have a go-to guy? I don't know. A lot of people point to Zachariah Branch when it comes to that. I don't know that Zachariah Branch is quite that. And part of me says that because I watched him for 2 years at USC. I watched him in an offense that was led by Caleb Williams, and they didn't have elite receivers, and he wasn't the main target, right? And he's got elite explosiveness and playmaking ability. Can he be an elite wide receiver? I don't know that's how he's going to be used. And this may just be a pass catcher by committee thing, but that's why I asked the question, do they have a go-to guy? Noah Thomas. Unfortunately, suffered a shoulder injury. Didn't really play that much during G-Day. Looked like he was one of the starters. It looked like Dylan Bell and Noah Thomas and Kobe Young and Zachariah Branch were all considered starters when you think about who were the wide receivers that were going out there. That was kind of your four, right, that rotated in and out with that first group at the beginning of the game. So I don't know if it's Noah Thomas. Now, I thought he was going to have a good G-Day. Well, he doesn't really play that much. He's dealing with an injury. And we know he's got a lot of playmaking ability, and he's done it at the SEC level, and we saw him do that at Texas A&M this past season. But he didn't impress, the way that Kobe Young did, and Kobe Young could go up and get it in the end zone. And that's what I think Noah Thomas can do too. I don't know if he is a go-to guy, though. It's my question. Dylan Bell. He led the first-team offense in targets with 7 targets, and that was the most on the first-team offense. Passed it a little bit more on the second-team offense. But is he just going to be the seniority guy, or is it really because of the talent? Look, Dylan Bell's made a ton of really nice plays for Georgia over the last few years. He made a very nice play at G-Day on a post route where he got a lot of separation from DeMello Jones. Gunnar Stockton hits him. If he breaks that tackle, it's a big-time touchdown from Gunnar Stockton to Dylan Bell. He's got to come back from regressing from 2023 to 2024. He's got to come back from that. Scovey White, I want to talk about him for a couple minutes. 6 targets on the first-team offense and 6 targets on the second-team offense. So he had the most targets throughout the whole day with 12 between the two teams. When he was with the second-team offense, they got a ball to him a couple times. He only had 3 catches. But when he got in there and played with Gunnar Stockton in that first-team offense, he really shined. He had a really, really nice grab on one of those passes where it's like, whoa, Gunnar, just put it between 3 guys. So Scovey White, a smaller guy, goes up and gets it. He leaned out for a nice touchdown catch later on that drive. He made some plays, and there's been a little bit of buzz about him in spring practice. Maybe Scovey White can turn into a guy that, look, you just can't keep him off the field. Jeremy Bell is another guy who's now woven himself into the mix. He's a walk-on. We heard a lot about him over spring practice and how he played really well. And then he showed some ability at G-Day. He had 2 targets, but one of them was a 36-yard touchdown where he torched Janelle Aguero on a slot fade. So I think that you can easily see that there's a lot of talent in this wide receiver room. London Humphreys had a huge day at G-Day, especially when he's playing on the second-team offense. He had 2 touchdowns. He had a 50-plus yard catch. So there's definitely a lot of talent. My question is, do they have a go-to weapon? I think people want it to be Zachariah Branch. I think that he has that capability, but I didn't see it at USC, and I didn't really see anything at G-Day that told me that he was going to be that. 2 targets. Now, it's G-Day. It's a scrimmage. Some of this doesn't matter. He's been dealing with a little bit of a hamstring, but I don't know that they have that number 1. Do they need a number 1? Michigan didn't really have that when they won the national championship. Obviously, Ohio State had all sorts of great wide receivers. Georgia had great pass catchers. Alabama did when they won. Don't even have to talk about LSU. But that's a position that really, really matters in football today. I think that they're better. I don't know if they have like a number 1 target, unless I'm just missing something. You let me know if I'm missing something, and thank you for watching.